A minute of Marvel graphics costs over $500,000. Warner Brothers spent about $3 million just to manually erase Henry Cavill's mustache. This isn't just show business. It's an inefficient financial black hole that's about to collapse. Today, we're going to prove to you Hollywood in its current form is bankrupt, and we'll show you a tool that does the work of an entire VFX studio for the price of a cup of coffee. Welcome to the end of the industry. In 2023, people stood against artificial intelligence for 118 days and lost. Remember how Hollywood was paralyzed by the actors and writers' strike demanding that AI technology not be used? It seemed like a serious battle for the future, but it turned out to be an attempt to defend against a tsunami with a paper umbrella. At the last Sundance 2026 festival, 85% of independent directors admitted they use neural networks to create their films. Because without AI, movies simply don't pay off today. Is the Hollywood we loved, with all those bloated budgets, massive sound stages, moody stars, and endless red carpets, really dead? Will you be able to distinguish AI generation from reality today? What have the tech giants prepared for us so that we don't mourn the art of cinema, but instead enjoy a new reality? Let's crack open this engine and see if anyone can create their own movie now and send it to a film festival. AI is no longer a fringe tool for enthusiasts. It's the foundation. Adobe and other tech giants have integrated neural networks deep into the editing and post-production process. So much so that the traditional VFX pipeline, the conveyor belt of visual effects creation, is now like trying to mine Bitcoin on a calculator. Slow, expensive, and pointless. We are witnessing the greatest dismantling in media history. A massive machine worth hundreds of billions of dollars has simply turned into a line of code. But enough theory, let's put this technology to the test, right now using Higgsfield. This is one of the coolest platforms with powerful neural networks created specifically for fast and high-quality video content generation. The plan is this: we'll give the AI an impossible task, to create a scene that would have previously required a month of work and hundreds of thousands of dollars. We'll see if the image falls apart at the most interesting moment, and check if you can tell the difference between real footage shot on a $50,000 camera and AI-generated clips made in 2 minutes. What's more, we'll try to create our very own cartoon, with characters, a plot, everything. Who knows, maybe a film festival is waiting for us too. An important point: everything we do, any of you can replicate. The old filmmaking process is an industrial giant from the Steam Age trying to survive in a world of quantum computing. Hundreds of artists used to work on a single battle scene. Modeling, rigging, texturing, lighting, rendering. It cost millions of dollars per minute of screen time and took months. For example, in Marvel or Disney blockbusters, the cost of special effects reaches $100,000 to $500,000 per minute of screen time. That's more than the average annual income of an American family. In Avengers Endgame, the budget was around $356 million, with over $150 million spent exclusively on graphics. That's about $800,000 per minute of film. Literally a luxury suburban home versus 60 seconds of screen time. This is the most inefficient waste of resources in human history, and this is exactly the bubble that is popping right now. But creating the graphics isn't everything. After all, you still have to compute it. For instance, rendering 1 minute of the movie Avatar required 67.5 million hours of CPU time. If one powerful home computer did it, it would take almost 8,000 years. Another telling example is Alfonso Cuarón's Gravity. Their visual effects weren't just an enhancement, they became the reality of the shot. About 80% of the film consists of CGI, and in fact, the camera often shot only the actors' faces, while everything else, space, stations, movement, light, was created in graphics. To make light and space look authentic, they built a lighting system for the shoot with 1.8 million individually controlled LED sources. Because fixing it in post wasn't enough, they had to light the face and reflections correctly from the start. This is the brute force method, but neural networks like Higgsfield or Sora don't calculate light, they remember it. They predict the result based on trillions of frames they've seen. In other words, we've moved from physical simulation to pure algorithmic intuition. And today, one specialist skilled in working with models like Sora 2, Google Veo 3.1, or Higgsfield can complete in one evening a volume of work that used to take a whole team a week. And we're not just talking about pretty pictures here. We're talking about physically accurate simulation of reality. Modern neural networks don't just draw pixels, they understand physics. The neural network understands how light falls on fabric, how pupils dilate when someone is scared, and how dust moves in sunbeams. Experts in blind tests can no longer tell the difference, where the real footage shot on an Arri Alexa lens ends and where the Kling 2.6 or Nano Banana Pro generation begins. Asset and visual effects creation efficiency has reached 90%. To understand why VFX artists are so scared, you just have to look at what Higgsfield puts out. We decided to test the hardest elements to render: cloth dynamics and water interaction. Honestly, when we first saw how Higgsfield rendered this fabric, it felt a little eerie. You can easily do things like this in, say, Kling 2.6 audio. It's a multimodal engine that creates entire scenes with synchronized visual effects, atmosphere, and voice. It looks 100% realistic and just amazing. No extra editing, a full shot with sound in one pass. It's just wow. Look, I just enter a prompt and the model, built on a unique architecture for understanding motion, calculates the girl's dress blowing in the wind, accounting for the material density. Or here, water splashes that scatter according to all the laws of fluid mechanics. Previously, this required massive render farms and weeks of work, but now Higgsfield does it in minutes right in the browser. This is terrifying precision. When I see shots like this, it's clear. The era of massive sound stages with green screens is really coming to an end. Professional visuals are no longer about the skill of drawing, but the skill of managing these models. But if water physics is just a matter of calculations, what about what can't be calculated? The human soul and talent. It turns out, Hollywood has already lost here too. The most crushing blow was dealt to the very heart of Hollywood: acting. The traditional Dream Factory model always relied on the cult of personality. You pay Tom Cruise $20 million, you get the box office. But why pay millions to a person who ages, gets sick, and demands a writer with pink flamingos? We're not talking about Tom, by the way. We hear he's a great guy. But in general, why should a producer pay millions to a star, spend the budget on insurance, writers, and personal assistants if you can create the perfect actor from scratch? What's more, an actor who will belong to the studio forever. Look at Tilly Norwood. This name became a household word in 2025 and 2026. Tilly Norwood isn't human. She's a fully digital product from the London studio Particle 6. She has a personality, a style, a way of speaking. She never gets tired and never gets caught up in scandals unless the producer wants her to. Granted, Tilly doesn't have any roles yet. When Particle 6 tried to sign her with a casting agency, it sparked protests from the Screen Actors Guild, and many real stars like Chris Pratt openly criticized the project, seeing it as a threat to the profession. Nevertheless, negotiations are ongoing, and Tilly might get her first role as early as 2026. In the meantime, she runs social media and participates in the studio's own advertising projects. So, the world is changing. And if you think digital actors are the prerogative of wealthy studios, Higgsfield proves otherwise. It features personalized technology, which allows you to create personal avatars. I took a regular photo and used it to create a character that lives in the frame, keeping their unique facial features and expressions from scene to scene. This solves the main problem of AI video, maintaining character consistency. Now you can write a script for your hero and take them through different locations without losing their identity. The motion control system allows you to literally conduct the actor's movements, setting the trajectory and intensity of gestures. Essentially, Higgsfield gives you your own virtual troupe of actors who don't age, don't ask for fees, and are ready to film the most dangerous stunts. This is exactly what democratization is. Now each of us is our own casting director and the owner of the rights to digital stars. This isn't just a blow, it's a kill shot to casting agencies. The reaction of living film legends to this phenomenon was a mix of horror and helplessness. Emily Blunt called the emergence of such actors something truly scary, destroying the very essence of human empathy. James Cameron, a man who pushed technology forward his whole life, described what's happening as a horrifying desecration of a sacred art. However, while some protest, others simply adapt. Tom Hanks officially licensed his digital copies through the Metaphysic Pro platform. This gave him 3 advantages at once: protection of his digital face and voice copy, access to real-time digital de-aging directly through the camera lens, and the ability to send his digital avatar to work, say filming a commercial, without getting off his couch. Moreover, the actor understands. His biological body is mortal, but a digital avatar can generate income for his heirs forever. We're already seeing how the voices of dead stars, James Dean, Judy Garland, Burt Reynolds, are returning to narrate new books and appear in commercials. The line between life and death in Hollywood has finally blurred. Remember the triumphant appearance of deepfake Elvis on America's Got Talent? That was a moment of truth. The audience and the judges didn't just see an image, they felt the presence of a legend. But maybe we're wrong? Maybe in a year we'll all miss live actors. It's possible, but unlikely. First, AI generations have officially become indistinguishable from reality. Forget about messed up fingers or weird facial expressions. Modern neural networks have learned to fake everything from micro-expressions to the tremor in a voice when someone's nervous. The United States National Institute of Standards and Technology has already openly admitted its own helplessness. AI detectors no longer work. Even NIST admitted we can no longer distinguish code from reality. In other words, the post-truth era has officially arrived. But AI isn't just replacing faces, it's replacing entire design departments that used to spend months drawing every detail, right down to the signs in the background. And here's an example, Nano Banana Pro from Google. How do you like the name, by the way? It's not the result of a marketing agency or focus group survey, but a joke born inside the company that became a great solution. So the model puts out a clean production-ready image in 2K or 4K resolution, and it solved the problem that gave away AI fakes for years. Text, signs, logos, all inscriptions are now clear. No more gibberish in the frames. For an engineer, this means moving from chaotic pixel generation to the precise creation of the reality needed in the frame. And this isn't even the end. Neural networks will definitely keep evolving. And this process can't be stopped, despite the threat of deepfakes. Why? The answer is trivial. It's profitable. Capitalism knows no ethics. It only knows optimization. Let's be honest, producers don't care about movie magic when massive savings are on the line. Jeffrey Katzenberg and Morgan Stanley analysts predict that AI integration will reduce content production costs by 30% to 90%. Tech giants and major streamers see AI not as a threat to art, but as a gold mine. For example, you've probably heard that the studio had to spend about $3 million to remove Henry Cavill's mustache in Justice League. And the de-aging technology in The Irishman cost Scorsese tens of millions of dollars and still look debatable. In 2026, all of this can be done with AI. Just look at Higgsfield's rates. Creating commercials, special effects, and even your entire video here starts at $9. You've got to admit, that's an incomparable budget. A move from several million dollars to a few cups of coffee. The savings here aren't just in money, but in the most important resource, time. With Higgsfield, the cycle from idea to finished shot is shortened hundreds of times, thanks to a powerful social editor and the ability to generate quickly on the go. This is the new economy that makes maintaining huge movie studios a pointless luxury. The film industry understands this perfectly. In Gladiator 2 and the latest Star Wars installments, up to 90% of the people in crowds are digital agents. They can make decisions on their own, where to look, how to react to an explosion, and when to run. And this progress can't be stopped. But it's beneficial not only to movie studios, but also to the viewer. Why wouldn't you want live actors to return to the screen yourself? Because right now, we're on the threshold of the era of, quote, hyper-personalized cinema. Anthony Russo, one of the creators of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, predicted that soon, the viewer will stop being a passive consumer. Imagine, you go onto a streaming platform and instead of choosing from a list of existing movies, you enter a text prompt. You can ask the system to generate a noir detective film where you play the lead role and your partner is Marilyn Monroe, and the AI will create this movie in minutes, with an original plot, flawless graphics, and music. It sounds like science fiction, but technically, all the components for this already exist in 2026. And they're even gathered on one platform, Higgsfield. A tool called Cinema Studio is already implemented here. It's the world's first comprehensive movie-making pipeline that takes you from the first conceived shot to the finished video. Just choose a model, come up with a concept, and turn your thoughts into a full-fledged video. And if you need inspiration, you can peek at an idea in the media kit with ready-made examples. Actually, Cinema Studio is the first solution we've seen for automating the entire filmmaking process. Everything is taken into account here, from lighting specifics to framing. You can even choose a camera and lens for stylistic guidance. The result is true cinematic quality. Thus, we are moving from mass art to individual art. Hollywood has finished its journey as the planet's main dream factory. Now the machines are dreaming. The old model, based on human labor, intuition, and massive costs, couldn't withstand the competition with algorithms that work 24/7 and don't demand recognition. Wrapping up our experiment with Higgsfield, I have to admit, the barrier to entry for big cinema has vanished. We've seen that modern models are already handling physics, characters, and dynamics at a level that seemed like magic only yesterday. Voice, music, visuals, all of this now comes together as a single puzzle on one screen. And now it's time to show you what we came up with.
It all started in Sneshville. My mornings were always perfect. Charging dock, sunbeams on my ceramic armor, and my usual route along the glass walkways. I was just part of a well-oiled machine. But suddenly, I fell. System error. A hatch opened beneath my feet, and I fell down, straight into the catacombs of the old city that we had all long forgotten. I woke up among shadows and old bricks. There were no holograms here. The door was ajar, as if inviting me to enter. Inside, dust particles danced in the golden light, and on the workbench lay it, heavy, cold, and incomprehensible, a wrench. An unknown object, but when I touched the metal, time stood still. The air lifted me up, and the old workbench suddenly became familiar and dear to me. My eyes lit up with a different, living light. I saw them, people, those who once held this wrench. These were not just commands in code, they were dreams. Then the colors disappeared, the dusty workshop returned, and I felt sad. But now I knew this key was not just a piece of metal, it was a symbol of what we could create. I waved the key, and the ancient magic opened a portal straight to our home, to the center of Sneshville. I placed this rusty artifact in our immaculate fountain. Golden light flooded the city. Now we don't just work, we create, because the future shouldn't be artificial, it should be shared.
What are your impressions? Want to try bringing your idea to life? Follow the link in the description and see for yourself what Higgsfield is capable of. Don't forget to subscribe. In 2026, news comes out faster than AI can generate it. See you in the real future.